Thank you for the introduction. I'm Kris. I'm the founder of Culture Trip. So we see ourselves as a tech startup in hypergrowth, but really merging two very ostensibly different spaces. So we're on the one hand, as the name suggests, we're in the travel space. On the other hand, we're also in the media and entertainment space. And what makes us unusual, we feel, is the merging of these two spaces. We're bringing a travel monetization model to media. Media has not gotten a good business model. It's eyeball-based, it's advertising-based. So we try to disrupt that by using a travel business model, and I'll explain later what we mean by that. Conversely, we think we can win in travel by using elements of media and by using the creativity that media is so strong in. We bring that to travel. That makes us different. What do we do? As the introducer said, we tell stories. We tell stories about what makes a place special and unique, what makes its people special and unique, what makes its culture special and unique. That's what we're focusing on. That's our mission, and everybody rallies behind that kind of vision and view for the world. Thirdly, and I put that on here very deliberately because it's something often not thought of by your typical tech founder or your tech startup, which is brand. We're thinking about brands very early. And we think we have the potential in this generation, in this day and age, to be a real feel-good, young global brand, a Coca-Cola brand, for lack of a better word. Now, how did this all start? Back in 2011, I was a psychiatrist, and I was a psychiatrist that was very entrepreneurial, but I had a very bad idea. And my bad idea was to start a bookstore, an online bookstore. When you had Amazon, that's just a bad idea. So I struggled to get money, and I founded it with $20,000 essentially. That was all I could raise from a somewhat, I don't know what went through his mind, but maybe a somewhat optimistic angel investor. The good news was that 3 days in, we all realized there was a very bad idea, and we started to write content around that bookstore. I'm not too sure whether that even was a good idea, but it was at least better than the store because people read that content. They came to it. And they came to it quite quickly in decent numbers. But writing about books and films, again, it's quite highbrow, it's not mass market, it's niche. It was hard to grow. So we started to write about more visual material. We started to write about art and architecture and design. And the audience really, really went up. It was really rather nice. Because of that audience growth, I could raise a little bit more money, but I'm talking here really, really small amounts, 30K here, 20K there, and all I could ever present in those 4 years of what I call stomachache was growth, user growth. And every 3 months we ran out of money. And every 3 months I sold a yet better looking future in my mind, but really it was all content, eyeballs, no money, experimenting with the model. The big unlocking content we did, and I advise that to everybody who is roughly thinking of doing something in the content space, was writing about food. As soon as we wrote about food, the audience went like this. You think about food at least 3 times a day, you don't need any prompt. It works, I can guarantee. So come 2015, 4 years later, experimenting, running out of money, we somehow had stumbled towards 1 million monthly unique users, magically. We had no longer an office, we couldn't afford it anymore. We had been working from hotel lobbies where we were repeatedly kicked out because we didn't have enough money to drink enough coffee to justify our presence there. So in the week that we were finally kicked out, where everything was going to literally hit the wall, managed to secure some money from Silicon Valley, and everything changed. I wouldn't have stood here today if that hadn't happened. I managed to raise 2 million in seed. And suddenly I could, again, afford an office and I could hire engineers. Without engineers, what do you even do today? So that set us off. And we had a 9-month horizon, which we had never had. You could actually build something, do something. And yeah, as you can see, that led to a 20 million round. And then there was no holding back. Suddenly, all these years of thinking and stomachache allowed, the cash injection at that point allowed me to build on that thinking. And our graphs went through the roof, and I'll show you in the next slide. Everything went up, amazingly. And because it went up so well, we raised more money, and we raised the 80 million, and recruited a smashing leadership team, and are now all over the world. So to give you an idea about this growth, when we were about to die, obviously we had about 1 million monthly uniques, as I just said. Now it's pushing for 20. We somehow, despite never having seen a camera in the company until 2 years ago, we managed 2 billion video views. So really staggering growth. I mean, or that's what the investment community made of that. And we spread the word on social perhaps better than anybody else whilst we could through our video work in particular. And our app, again, has now about 1.5 million downloads. Really well received, so I invite you all to take a look at the App Store and download it. Use it here in Lisbon. We have content for more or less every place in the world. More content for some places than for other, but you can use it anywhere you are. You can use it anywhere you go, you can use it anywhere you are, you can use it in your living room if you're just wanting to connect to the world around you and be entertained and informed by our content. You don't need to travel for this, is I guess what I'm saying. From these very humble beginnings, we're today in 3 offices. We scaled from about 12 people just under 2 years ago to now nearly 300 people. By that I mean in-house staff. So we have about 200 people in London, about 40, 50 in New York, about 40 in Israel. And we grew a global creator community around the world of writers, but also filmmakers, photographers, illustrators, animators. So really amplifying our creative diversity. So this is the sort of stuff we write about. So what you will not find on Code Strip is Trump or elections or current affairs. It's a politics-free zone. So we write about all the nice things. Art, food, travel, architecture, design. They're all listed here. And there seems to be a very strong demand for that, which is what lets, or what underpins that user growth, of course. People have no go-to platform for this kind of stuff. That there's hundreds, if not thousands, of blogs and websites, but there's no go-to one that really allows you to go around the world in the way that we allow you to. So what is the big opportunity here? Why do we get that money? We got that money because of the growth, because of the vision, because of the talent we managed to attract, because that's a key part in it. Without talent, you can do absolutely nothing. But equally because people believe in the business proposition, in the valuation, quite literally, of what this company can hopefully achieve, and about the economics. So if you think about the travel space, if we focus on that for a minute, there is a lot going on at the tip of the funnel, as in where people take money off you, where you book your hotel, where you book your place to stay, where you book your tour. There's a lot there. But there's big players there. You know where to go. If I asked each and every one of you, what are these big players? You will say Airbnb, Booking.com, Expedia. And some of you might have heard about Klook and Get Your Guide, for which there is a fair bit of investment interest because they are trying to disrupt the tour industry, the experiences industry. But those are the names. You know where to go. At the top of the funnel, when you're not traveling or when you're first thinking of traveling, it's thousands, but there's no dominant player, there's no go-to platform. That's where we sit today. Already at this point in time, amazingly actually, we have a bigger audience than Lonely Planet, we have a bigger audience than Time Out. That's where we sit, that's the battle we are, in our opinion, already winning. What we believe we can do better than anybody else is take users all the way down the funnel. So when you're not thinking of travel, maybe we can make you think of travel. Maybe we can inspire you to go to place X, Y, Z. We can serve you with content recommendations all the way through to you booking, all the way through to you going on that trip, even when you come back from that trip. We can be there during that entire, what we call, trip cycle. So that's what we are about. That's, I think, here what the opportunity is. And I'm very keen to talk through the panel, take questions that you might have about this growth, about where we might need to go. Thank you all for hearing me out.
Thank you so much.